Welcome back to Anderson Acres. It is hatch day. This is what happens on hatch day. So let's talk about the actual hatching process for your baby ducklings. Ducklings are really not difficult to hatch, but there are a few things to watch out for that you don't have to watch out for with chickens. So right now we have 6 fully out of their eggs. 1 just emerged on the other side of the incubator. I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure that one that emerged is going to make it. He seems to have pipped through a blood vessel. So because he's pipped through a blood vessel, they can sometimes make it, sometimes not. But we'll see if we can turn the incubator a little bit to take a look at him. He's over here. This little guy right here, I'm not sure he's going to make it. We're going to give him every chance. He did pip, he did zip, but he pipped through a blood vessel. So we just leave him. Don't pull him out. We're just going to leave him in there. Hopefully he makes it through because there's not a lot we can do. He pipped through that blood vessel on his own. I didn't do it. He did it. So because he did it, there's not a lot I can do. So what to expect for hatch day? On hatch day, or near hatch day, I'm going to warn you, you might see some dark splotches on your eggs, okay? You might see a couple of spots where there's splotches on your eggs and it almost looks like that egg is starting to rot. Remember that we candled our eggs before they went into lockdown, right? We candled our eggs before they went into lockdown. We know that these ducklings were all alive at lockdown. Even if they passed away at lockdown, the egg could not be rotting yet. So sometimes what happens is you see a dark splotch on an egg right before it starts hatching, and you get kind of nervous, and you're like, oh no, oh no, oh no. It's okay. Having dark splotches appear on waterfowl as they're about to hatch is actually really normal. Okay? So it's all right that appears on your eggs. That's okay. Okay? So don't panic if you see a dark splotch in one spot. That's probably where the duckling is leaning against the egg, and there's just stuff happening inside the egg that makes the shell appear darker. It doesn't always happen, but it can, and it's not a cause for concern. You candled the eggs before they went into lockdown. It's not rotten. You double checked, right? You checked. That's why we candle at lockdown, so we can remove any egg where the baby is not viable, not ready. This guy has eggshell on his nose. Fantastic, man. You should get the eggshell off your nose. So, after you lock down your birds, you might see dark splotches. Okay. The other thing you need to now watch for, not to do with the dark splotches, but don't panic over the dark splotches. The other thing you're watching for is pips. Pips are a little break in the shell where they kind of knock through. There's a pip right there. Knock through that top of the shell. They break out of the shell, but it's just a little crack on the outside of the egg. Usually it looks like a star shape or a little cross shape, something like that. They just kind of burst a little bit through the shell. Once you see that pip, note the time, because ducks are not necessarily like chickens. Because you see how a duck has a much more rounded nose, and you see how their feet are webbed. They don't have that scratching ability or that pecking ability that a chicken has. Like, look at that rounded nose. They have an eye tooth, yeah, for helping to get out of the egg, but it's not the same. So every once in a while you'll have a duckling that needs help. So when you see that pip occur on the top of the egg, note the time. 24 hours later, you want to see some progress. You'll probably see progress before that, but 24 hours. So in 24 hours, check that egg. Does that duckling need a little bit of help? Do you have to start helping him zip a little bit? You can start, do a little bit, help him start to make the way around the egg. Do it gently, do it slowly. If you encounter blood, stop. Most likely you won't have to do it at all. Most likely, your guy's gonna be fine and he'll get, like, none of these guys have needed help. Okay, these guys are all fine. But ducks, especially if they're a call duck, often need help. Rounded bills, shorter bills. So if you have a breed that's a shorter billed duck, then you're gonna definitely wanna watch and make sure you are catching it if they need help. Otherwise, you can lose an entire clutch because you weren't paying attention. So generally, you should not help unless it's clear that they're not getting out of there by themselves. You have to wait at least 24 hours. So generally, the hatching will occur all on its own. Ducks will pip, ducks will zip, which is moving around like a zipper, punching out bits of the egg so the top of the egg can come off. So they pip, they zip, they push, and then they come right out of the egg. Okay? Next week there will be a long form video of a chick hatching, of a duckling hatching, that you can watch if you like. This week, this is the video that is being posted for ducks. But next week that will happen. Generally, you just sit back and let it. Generally, you don't have to do much. Now, you want to keep your temp 37.5 Celsius or 99.5 Fahrenheit or a degree below. You generally want to maintain a decent temp. You don't want to drop it too low, but you can drop it by about a degree if you like. Humidity should be 50% or higher. Okay? You don't want it to drop because ducks, like geese, need humidity. Okay? That doesn't mean you're adding water to your incubator. Oddly enough, I still haven't added water. It's really freaking humid here right now. So I still haven't added water. And yes, they're hatching right now, so my humidity is like 77 or something, 73. Can't tell. I can't tell. But it's something like that. It's in the 70s. And I haven't added any water. That's partially because when they start pipping, the humidity rises. But it's partially because it's so freaking humid here because we're between two giant lakes that I didn't have to add water. I'm not saying add water or don't add water. I'm saying monitor your humidity. If your humidity is already 50% plus inside your incubator with the incubator running and the eggs in it, you don't need to add any extra water. If it's lower than that, you're going to have to add water. Okay? So you definitely want to make sure you are adding water if necessary. So don't just add water randomly or you can end up with humidity too high, and high humidity will drown your ducks. So definitely monitor that humidity, monitor that temperature, keep them consistent, and you should be fine. So you are, hi. Peep, 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 peep. So far we have 6 out. One egg, there were 11 eggs. One egg pipped, but then the duckling died, which unfortunately happens sometimes. So we discarded that egg because there's no sense in leaving him in there because he was dead. He had passed away. So now we have 6 ducklings out. One duckling that had pipped through that blood vessel, so I'm not sure he's going to make it. 2 eggs, this one and this one, are pipped, and then there's one in the back that has not pipped yet. But technically, today is hatch day, so they can take a couple extra days if they need to. So generally what you're watching for is your pips, your zips, your emerging. Do not pull chicks out of the eggs. Even if you have to assist and you have to take the top of the egg off and you even have to maybe free their head so that they can push themselves out of the egg, do not remove the bottom from that egg. That's really important. Because usually when you help a chick, they're not actually done absorbing the yolk from inside the egg. And if you take them out, they can end up drying out and getting very sick and dying on you very, very quickly. So do not pull the chick out of that egg. Take the top off and free his head if you need to, but let him work his own way out of the egg. Unless he's been sitting there for like 48 hours and the egg is like suckered onto him, you definitely don't want to be pulling him out of that egg. But otherwise, watch in case you have to assist. Assist slowly, gently. If you see blood, stop. Be very, very careful. You do not want to damage your little guy because, frankly, they need all the help they can get. But if you're lucky, and most people are lucky enough that you don't have to assist. So I haven't assisted yet. I don't expect I will need to. I am going to keep an eye on this guy who pipped and this guy who pipped, but they didn't pip until early this morning. So I'm not going to worry about it till tomorrow. The rest of these guys have emerged on their own in about the last 6 hours or so. Yes, ducklings. But just monitor your humidity and temperature. Be hands off until you can't be hands off. You generally don't want to interfere. If you have to, be careful, be slow. Remember, these guys are cayugas and cayuga crosses. So this one's obviously a cayuga called up cross because it doesn't have the black beak or black legs. But the all black beak and all black legs are the purebred cayugas. So that is what we're doing this weekend. We are hatching ducks. That is about it for us here today at Anderson Acres. tune in a couple weeks. The video of them moving to the brooder will be posted, even though they're moving to the brooder tomorrow. The video won't make it up for a couple weeks. That's it for us here today. We'll see you tomorrow.